Greetings and salutations, viewers. I'm StarPrincessHLC, and welcome back to Corpse Party Book of Shadows. When we last left off, we jumped into a flashback concerning our beloved teacher, Miss Yui, and she's going through quite a bit during her time as a student at Kisaragi High. She's crushing on this one boy who is really kind of out there. An old lady collapsed and attacked her in front of her house and died, and she got the story of the 7 Wonders of Kisaragi High that Ayumi was talking about at the beginning of the original game with the ghost teacher who doesn't know she's dead, and now she's here in her school looking for her not quite boyfriend's lucky pencil that he gave her to help her pass her tests so she could become a teacher. So right now we're standing in front of the teacher's podium, and Yui is debating whether she should leave the room or stand at the podium late at night when supposedly the hauntings are supposed to occur. I think you're supposed to stand behind the podium, but just for safety precaution, I say we should just leave the room first.
ダメダメ。ここは遊んでないでとっとと学校を出るべきだよね。
I mean, really, at this point, should there really be any horror-related things happening at this current point in time? I don't know. I guess we'll see. I mean, really, we don't have the time to be standing behind the podium, right? I decided it'd be best to put my yearnings aside and leave the classroom behind.
七不思議だなんてやっぱり迷信じゃない。
Yeah, superstition. I couldn't believe I'd gotten all indignant with Tsukasa over something so trivial. Thinking about it now, it seemed kind of ridiculous. I know, right? I mean, you can't expect horror in every aspect of a horror game.
家に帰ろうかな。
Yes, let's go home.
今日は明日に備えて早く寝なくちゃ。
Agreed. You gotta be ready to take your tests for being a teacher. With this in mind, I walked toward the classroom door and took one step out into the hall. When suddenly... Damn it, we're not even in Heavenly Host. What is going on now? The door slid shut on its own with incredible force, and my neck was trapped in the narrow opening that remained. I dug my nails into the door, frantically trying to open it back up. But the more I pushed on it, the more it pushed back, further constricting my neck. Well, this is quite a twist. I was flailing my limbs, twisting and contorting my body, trying everything I could to escape. Just lucky, I guess. It's a corpse party game, what do you expect? My neck was clamped tightly. I could feel the blood rushing to my head. I couldn't breathe. Opening my mouth in terror, I stuck my tongue out as if trying to swallow the air. That must have been quite a sight. Then again, I don't know if I'd want to see somebody having their head stuck in a door. Forcefully shaking my head left and right, I swiveled my body to face the ceiling. That's when I saw the tall, pitch-black silhouette of a person. Zombie? A silent scream squirmed its way out of my throat. But the door was still pressing onto my neck. Funny that's the person she has on her lips as she is being tortured by a door, essentially. My vision whirled and I felt a sensation of falling. At the same time, a lukewarm liquid began pouring over my face.
Eh?
It's like, I'm currently being strangled by a door. Why am I just questioning the fact that I get something on my face? As I was struggling to make sense of what was happening to me, the door that had been violently crushing my neck quietly slid open. The floor of the schoolhouse came down hard on my head. My vision had gone white and begun blurring, but I could still see.
私の体が見える。
Oh! Her head came off, didn't it? Just like in Tortured Souls. Lovely. I was rolling across the hallway, and there in the doorframe, I caught sight of my own headless torso collapsing in a heap on the floor. That's quite a door. Makes me think of that one Final Destination film where the girl got her head chopped off in an elevator.
何が起こったの?
You died. That's what happened. Somehow, I don't get that one. The last thing I saw, out of the corner of one bloodshot, unfocusing eye, was the familiar figure of the old woman from this morning. The one who died? Huh! Well, that's a weird wrong end, and it probably screws up with the continuity hard, because how the hell are you having this flashback if you're dead? Just saying. Oh well, apparently we are supposed to, look behind the podium. Go figure. Okay, let's actually stand behind the teacher's podium this time. Hopefully we won't die this time.
少しだけ先生の気分を味わっちゃえ。
If you say so, Miss Yui. I decided I had to try it. Because apparently not doing it equals death. Whatever, corpse party. During daily cleanup and such, I'd come and gone from this spot countless times. But this was the first time I'd ever had an opportunity to just stand here and preside over the classroom. Boy, she really wants to be a teacher, doesn't she?
そうか。先生からはこんな風に見えるんだ。教室って。
If you say so. I don't know. I'm sure a lot of it is headaches,
なん
too.
かちょっとドキドキする。
You don't get out much, do you? Gaining a teacher's point of view, in the most literal sense, was starting to get me really fired up. Yeah, she is very... I guess it's good she has such a passion for being a teacher, but at the same time it's like, oh, real life is going to kick you in the teeth hard if you hadn't died in Heavenly Host. It may seem silly now, but this was my stage. This was where all my dreams would play out.
私もいつか。
Someday. Not very long, but someday. I began to imagine the future that awaited me, painstakingly detailing some new piece of knowledge for students sitting attentively at their desks. Now turn your chapter books to chapter 3 and get out your worksheet. Gliding chalk across the board, filling it with information to aid in their studies. Probably getting a little choked up from the chalk.
いつか先生になれるといいな。
Don't worry, Miss Yu, you'll be fine. I was getting so excited that even I began to think my behavior was a little strange. I would say so. Maybe it was the juxtaposition of these joyous, freeing visions and the prickling dread I'd been feeling up until just a minute or two before. But then, in the blink of an eye, one of these two conflicting emotions completely overpowered the other. Damn it, Nosferatu, stop playing with the lights! No, it's just Nosferatu. He likes to do that. Suddenly my surroundings were bathed in darkness. Going stiff with shock, I stumbled back a step. My back struck the blackboard with a dull thud. Great, now I'm gonna have a bruise back there.
いきなり何?
At least you got to stand behind it and not get squished by a door this time. I instinctively grabbed hold of the rail where the eraser sat. I felt chalk dust against my fingertips. Now I gotta wash my hands, thanks. My panicked heartbeat was making it difficult to breathe. Was this caused by the thunderstorm? If so, it sure picked a fine time to turn the lights out on me. At least your head's not squished in a door.
しかもオルガンの音まだ響いてる。嘘なんで？停電になってるならオルガンだって鳴らないはずなのに。
Probably something supernatural, but maybe that's just me. Oh, hi, old woman. Are you flashbacking into my mind again? A flashback within a flashback. That's just kind of odd. Was this what the old woman was trying to warn me about? Was this what the old woman was trying to warn me about? I don't know. I'm too frightened by the blackout to figure out anything. Much less speak. That's impossible. She was no fortune teller or psychic, as far as I was aware. You don't know that. You didn't really know her personally. She just showed up. How could she possibly have known this would happen? Hell, even if she were a fortune teller or a psychic, predicting the future is the stuff of science fiction. I shook my head. And yet, you know, we had a moment where you died from a door, so...
落ち着くのよ、私。音楽室の方はまだ停電になってないとか、きっとそんな理由だよ。
I don't know if schools are that, well, planned that way. I curled my chalk-dusted fingers into a fist and silently tried to talk some sense into myself. Stop freaking out, Yui! Stop it!
ともかく早く校舎を出よう。
Well, you can't stay here. That'd be kind of weird. Kind of dumb, too. Who'd want to stay at school all night? I should have been playing teacher. I should have been in and out by now. Except you get crushed by a door if you don't, so... Plot dictates weirdness. Cursing myself a little, I fumbled my way through the darkened classroom. Oops. I spent so much time in here, you'd think I'd be able to find my way out of it with my eyes closed, as it were. You have hands. You can feel where the desks are. And the walls. It really doesn't look that dark, it's just a little tinted blue, really. But sadly, that wasn't the case. Smashing loudly into a desk, I knocked it on its side and began tumbling after it instinctively, grabbing at other desks around me for support. Yeah, I don't know if the teachers would really care that much. Oof.
いけない。机の中身まき散らしちゃったよ。
You can clean it up later, or the janitor. Actually, no. Isn't it like some schools in Japan? They can't afford janitors, so they have the students clean up. I don't know.
元に戻さなくちゃ。
You can do it later. I mean, no one's gonna know it's you. Somebody might have forgotten. Still fumbling around blindly, I gathered up all the scattered notes, textbooks, and writing utensils. Is she gonna stab herself with a pencil?
でも暗くて何がなんだか。もう何やってるのよ、急いでるのに。本当にドジなんだから。
Yeah, kind of funny that way. I let out a sigh. I seem to be doing that a lot lately.
これは教科書とノートでしょ。
You can leave at any time, I'm just saying. No one will know it's you. I was trying to take inventory of all the things I'd knocked out of the desks and realized why. I might as well just stand it up and stuff it all back in. Now who's gonna notice? I'm sure it wasn't very clean to begin with.
さすがに全部を間違いなく元に戻すのは無理だな。明日ここの席の子に謝らなくちゃ。
There you go. That's easier. And you can help organize it later, I don't know. Not that it was a particularly pleasant prospect. Explaining what I'd done wouldn't be easy, and no matter how I sugarcoat it, it would serve as a clear indication of my clumsiness. And they would still be questioning why the hell you came to school at such a late hour for a stupid pencil. If I didn't say anything, it's not like I'd be found out, but that would be the same as lying as far as I'm concerned, and I couldn't do that. I'm a nice person.
これで最後かな。
I placed my hand against the floor and swept it around, feeling for anything I might have missed. And I found something. All right.
やだ。何これ。なんだか ぬるぬるして。
Was it like a piece of a human body part? I clearly brushed my fingers across something, but I had no idea what. There was no notebook or writing implement, though, that's for sure. Maybe she did cut her finger, who knows?
机の中からなんでブニュブニュしたものが
Maybe it wasn't in the desk. Maybe it had been on the floor all along. Hey, somebody gets it.
なんだろうこれ
I don't know, it's dark. Turn the lights on. I rubbed my sticky fingertips a bit deeper into the wet spot, then brought my hand up close to my face so I could get a better look at what was there. Oh my god! It's a hand! I don't know, it's too dark, I can't tell. What on earth did I just touch? There was a flash of lightning almost immediately joined by a roaring thunderclap. And with it, for a split second, the pitch-black classroom was lit up bright as day. Oh! Well, it certainly isn't cranberry juice. I shot to my feet, utterly mortified. In that split second, I got a very good look at my fingertips, and it really did seem as if they were covered in blood. But it wasn't just my hand. No, if my peripheral vision were to be trusted, it looked like the entire classroom was stained a deep, dark crimson. You might be seeing things. It might be just a play on your eyeballs.
そういえばなんとなく生臭い気がする
I could be kind of gross here and say that maybe somebody had an accident, as it were. A young lady had a bit of an accident, but unlikely. Without thinking, I backed away from where I'd been crouching. I tried rationalizing what I saw. How could a whole classroom become a bloodbath like this? Did something spill? Did something stumble in here injured?
ありえないそんな何よこれ
Magic? Supernatural phenomenon? My whole body was quaking. I fled from the classroom. You should have done that earlier. Or rather, I tried to flee. Did you get stuck in the door again?
開かないやだ
Oh, oh, sure. When I just want to leave normally, the door squishes my head in. But, you know, I'm freaking out over horrible monstrosities, and it's like, yeah, I'm just gonna lock it.
鍵なんてかかってなかったのに今だって鍵はかかってないよそれなのにどうして
Nosferatu, stop playing pranks, I'm telling you. Bad enough you turned the lights off on her. We unlocked the door. I pulled on the door handle again and again in a frenzy. I was pulling so hard it felt like my fingernails might tear loose. But it just wouldn't budge.
なんでよ
I was absentmindedly grabbing at my hair with one hand and slammed my fists on a nearby desk with the other. That must have been quite a sight. This was a nightmare. Especially if she pulled her hair out in the incident.
何これ
Magic? Supernatural phenomenon? Take your pick. Silence saturated the inky blackness of the room. I took several deep breaths in an effort to restrain my pounding heart.
とにかく一度落ち着かないとそもそもドアが開かないのだって私がこんなにパニックになってるせいかもしれないし
Yeah, it might just be stuck. They might need to unrust it or something.
さっきの変な塊だってきっと何かの勘違いだよだってありえないじゃない教室にあんなわけのわからないものが落ちてるだなんて
Well, it could happen, but not that likely. I was certain that when I saw what it actually was come morning, it ended up being something totally random, like someone's old soda-stained gym clothes.
きっとそうだよそうだ指についたのだって美術に使う絵の具かもしれないじゃない
Does it have a copper-like smell to it, or some kind of metallic smell? Then no. My imagination was just running wild because I was panicking.
もしかしたらドアに何かが挟まってて開かないだけかもしれない
Yeah, probably my head from another previous alternate timeline. I decided to check out that hypothesis by feeling my way across the door and determining if anything was jutting out from any of the cracks.
ダメだ。真っ暗で何にも見えない。
I fumbled around the gaps in the door, but I just couldn't make anything out that way.
他の出口は。
We'll see. No, this was the third floor. I couldn't get out of here without exiting into the hallway.
今すぐ外に出たいのに。
Yeah, just ask the door and it's like, oh, I'm sorry. Here, I'll open up for you. Still at a loss, I noticed a sudden flash of light through the hallway window. But the glass was only translucent, so I couldn't be sure of its source.
誰か歩いてくる。
You can always knock and see. Then there came a distinctive clomp, clomp, clomp of footsteps.
そうだ。きっと用務員さんだ。
Oh, so they do have a custodian. Okay. I recalled the existence of a custodian who always patrolled the school grounds. I'm sure he was probably taking a look around after the sudden power outage.
助かった。
Maybe. For all you know, it's just some serial killer with an axe. All at once, my fear-addled legs regained their strength. This nightmare would soon be over.
すみません。
I shouted to the custodian at the top of my lungs through the window.
すみません。閉じ込められてるんです。
I had to be sure he heard me. I shouted again. Finally, I could see the light out in the hallway again, and it seemed to be getting closer. However...
なんかこの光おかしい気がする。
What do you mean? Perturbed, I took a step away from the door.
懐中電灯だったらもっと明るいよね。この光はなんだか。
Kinda looks like the faint unearthly glow classically attributed to spirits, was what I was thinking. I tried to stop myself from finishing that thought, however. What, you think it's a ghost? Come on. Ghosts don't exist in this universe. Come on, Yui, you're silly. Dullness aside, it also looked like it was wriggling around in a very unnatural, very unflashlight-like way.
それにこの足音。
Maybe he's using his phone. Or she. It might be a female custodian. You never know. Clomp, 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 clomp. 4 clomps. Then a 3 or so second interval. Then another 4 clomps. Maybe they're like Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory. He has to walk 4 times, like Sheldon has to knock 3 times. You never know. They were sounding in a fixed rhythm.
用務員さんじゃない。明らかに変な歩き方。
You don't know that. I mean, really, the way somebody walks, that seems kind of silly to think that's the case. But whatever. The fear was back. In full force. I had to find somewhere to hide. What if I'd accidentally summoned something inhuman? I mean, whatever that was, I begged for help. I literally invited it in. Well, sort of.
どこか隠れるところ。そうだ。
Well, there's not too many places you can hide. You can hide in the supply locker or the teacher's podium. I guess I could try the supply locker? Hang on, let me save. Let me save first. Let me save first. And see what happens there, because I have a feeling one of these is going to lead to a wrong end. Alright, let's try the supply locker first. I hurriedly squeezed myself into the metal locker where the classroom's cleaning supplies were kept. It was still pitch black in the room, so I really couldn't spare the time it would take to remove its contents. Instead, I just contorted myself to fit. That must have been really fun on the back. The locker was thick with the smell of mold and varnish.
ここで息を潜めていればきっと見つからないよね。
If you say so. So I waited. I waited for the footsteps to pass and fade into the distance, signaling that it was safe to emerge.
ずっとこんなところにいたらむせちゃいそうだよ。
And then she died. No, probably something else is going to happen. Still, it felt a lot safer in the locker than it did out in the room. But the footsteps weren't receding. They were just getting louder, closer, faster, Stronger. Better. Jeez, it keeps going. What's with the rat-a-tat? I don't want a rat-a-tat. Jeez, it's still going. And then they came to a sudden halt. And then we just see eyes peeking through the holes like, I see you. They were close, just outside the locker. I peered through the ventilation holes amidst the utter darkness of the classroom. There wasn't a soul to be seen.
大丈夫。ここにいれば大丈夫。
I'm not sure why I believed that. Maybe because I needed to. Maybe because it was so dark, or because I felt so much calmer in such a tight space where nothing could possibly sneak up behind me. I didn't know why, and I didn't care. I just knew that, as far as I was concerned, I was safe in here. So I stood, motionless and cramped, and I waited. I didn't have to wait long.
今、なんか音がした。鍵がかかったような。
Suddenly apprehensive, I gently nudged the supply closet door, just to make sure it would still open for me when I wanted it to.
開かない。
Oh! So, this ghost just has a sick sense of humor.
見つけた。
Oh. I let out a sudden yelp at this unknown voice and tried with all my might to push open the door, blocking my escape.
嘘。開かない。開けて。開けてってば。
I don't think I'm gonna be allowed out.
まだ残ってるの？居残りしてた罰よ。
I think I know whose voice that is, too. There was a brief moment of silence following the eerie voice's unsettling proclamation. And then... Crash! Crunch! The metal walls around me on all four sides began warping inward as if the supply locker had somehow been fed into a trash compactor.
痛い。何？
You're probably about to die, that's what. There was no force I could imagine that should have been able to do this. But it was happening. This already confined space was steadily closing in on me.
やだ。苦しい。開けて。出して。
I don't think they're gonna. At least not in one piece, anyway. Crash! Crunch! The collapse of the locker all around me continued, slowly and steadily. I could feel all manner of things pushing and cutting into my body. My vision went bright red. One of the blood vessels in my eyes probably burst from the pressure. I wasn't going to last much longer. The ventilation holes in the locker door were now pressed right up against my face, and through them I could just barely make out the figure of a person. It was the old woman from this morning. She was standing just outside the slats, staring right into my eyes. That's quite a scream, Yui. It was the last sight I would ever see as the locker finally, inevitably, smashed in my skull. Crash, crunch, crack, splat. Again, sounds kind of like a... Almost kind of sounds like the regenerators from Resident Evil 4, now that I think of it. Oh boy, another wrong end! Yay, we're doing well, aren't we? Oh, poor Yui. She dies even before getting to Heavenly Host. Oh well, I guess we'll see what the next one's gonna be like. I guess we have to actually hide behind the podium. Man, that podium just brings out everything, doesn't it? Okay, teacher's podium it is then. I hurriedly hid myself beneath the teacher's podium. I can't imagine that's a better hiding spot, but apparently it is. I grabbed my knees, curled up, and made myself as small as I could.
なんなの？一体どうなってるの？
Ghosts, that's what's happening. I guess the Kisaragi High seventh wonder thing about the headless, well, dead teacher is true. To an extent, it seems. The footsteps continue to draw nearer and nearer. Clomp, 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 clomp. Little by little, the sound grew louder. Every hair on my body was standing on end.
このまま通り過ぎてください。お願いします。
I held my breath, clasped my hands together, and silently prayed. Clomp, 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 clomp. Maybe it's a horse wandering the halls. Maybe someone's pulling a prank right before the end of the school year. Like, one time when I was in high school, the senior class decided to have a bunch of chickens running around the hall for the last day of school, so you never know. They were close now, very, very close.
神様。
Why was this happening? I couldn't make any sense of it. I just wanted it to be over. I prayed to God that it would end. Was this what the old woman was trying to warn me about? Was this all happening because I ignored her? Because I didn't take the paper doll from her? Was it because I'd heard the ghost story of Yoshie and allowed it to get to me? Or the strange events of the day have nothing to do with what is happening to me now?
口から心臓が飛び出しちゃいそうだよ。
Oh, great. Now we're in the alien universe. I was still holding my breath. I didn't dare let even the tiniest of sounds escape and give away my position. Tap, 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 tap. Oh, it's just a little bird trying to get food out of the walls. Sure. Tap, 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 tap. Tap, 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 tap. Maybe it's Morse code. Tap, 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 tap. Tap, tap. Boo! No boo. The consistent rhythm of the footsteps suddenly ended halfway into one of its cycles. And it had ended right in front of this very classroom. Oh, hello! By the way, how am I seeing this if I'm behind the teacher's podium? Just saying. I had goosebumps up and down my arms and legs. I stopped praying and clasped my hands over my mouth. I knew I'd scream if I didn't. Could this be Yoshie? Was the school legend real? All I could do was close my eyes, keep my mouth shut, and hope that whoever or whatever this was would just go away. But the footstep sounds didn't start again. If this was indeed Yoshie, then she'd stopped in front of the classroom and was just standing there. I had no concept of time anymore. I stayed in my hiding spot for what was probably only a few minutes, but felt like at least an hour.
足音が消えた。
I don't know. Debatable. I decided to carefully peek out from under the podium. I gingerly edged my head out just far enough to get a glimpse of the room, when suddenly the footsteps rang out once more. It sounded like they were headed right for me, and they might have been inside the room. I honestly couldn't tell. Kind of sounds like someone's really going crazy on a pogo stick, like they just had a ton of coffee and they're just like... But it's probably not. I scrambled back into my hiding spot and covered my mouth with both hands. This was too much for me. My breathing was coarse and erratic, and my face was a mess of tears and snot.
神様、助けて。
I was inconsolable. The footsteps just wouldn't stop. What on earth were they doing? It almost seemed like they were running around in circles just to scare me.
やめて。もう、やめて。
I'm telling you, they're playing on a pogo stick. I mouthed these words over and over again and moved my hands to my ears in a vain attempt to block out the torturous sound. And as if in response, the sound changed. Door opened. It was a loud, dull thud, followed by silence. No more footsteps. Probably something much worse, though. I'd heard that sound hundreds of times before. It was the classroom door sliding open. I peeked out, but the door was still tightly shut. How could that be? If the sound I heard wasn't the door, then what was it? What little safety I'd felt here was pretty much gone. But to be fair, I wasn't absolutely certain the spirit had seen or heard me either. The prospect of stepping out into the open wasn't a desirable one, but I had to decide if it was better to stay where I was, or to make a break for it. Oh, stop giving me all these choices, game! I don't know what to do here. Alright, I'll just save again. See what happens this time, I guess. Or I'll just leave it here, because we're just getting all over the place. Now, let's make a break for it? Staying in one place for too long seemed like it would be inviting trouble, so I took a deep breath and reluctantly crawled out as quietly as I could. But almost immediately I felt something. Oh great, now what? Something long and thin had struck me in the back of the head. Or perhaps struck isn't the right word. There was a little force behind it, but it wasn't a hard slam, more like someone was trying to get my attention.
木の棒？うん、これは指？
A finger? I knew I wouldn't like what I was going to see, but I had to face whatever this was. So, I turned around. And there, looming over me was...
まだ残ってるの。早く帰りなさい。
A figure was peering down at me from above the podium, with one emaciated, wishbone-like finger extended towards my face in 3D. I recognized this person instantly. No doubt about it, this was the strange old woman who supposedly passed away earlier. I was scared out of my mind. I tumbled the rest of the way out from under the podium and shot to my feet. A ghost! There really was a ghost in this school. My breathing was ragged and my heart was pounding so hard I thought it might explode. Plowing through all the desks in my way, I ran as fast as I could toward the classroom door. But that was as far as I could go.
どうしたの？
Oh boy. There in the open doorway was the same old woman, emitting a bluish-white glow. This was the source of the light I'd seen through the window earlier. But how in the world did she get to the door before I did? Oh boy. I felt like I was starting to hyperventilate and tried as best as I could to calm my breathing as my eyes darted about the room. I needed to get out of here now, to get as far away from this place as I possibly could.
前のドアから出られないとなると、外に出るには後ろのドアから出るしか。
Or you could jump out the window. But then you'd probably die because you're you're on the third floor.
でもそうすると、廊下は前のドアにいるあの幽霊の後ろを通らないと出口にはつかない。
Yeah.
そんなの無理。でも。
Okay. I bit my lip and continued scanning the room.
何かあれに対抗できるようなものがあればいいんだけど。
I didn't have to think carefully about it. I just had to grab something and hope for the best. There were two choices, and I had to pick one on impulse before it was too late. Oh, so I can either go with broom or bag of salt. I'm assuming the broom isn't gonna work, but let's see what happens with the countdown.
どうしよう。
When I looked over, the spirit of the old woman was holding out her hand from the other side of the door frame. She really was trying to catch me. I wasn't just being paranoid. She was going to kill me and turn me into a ghost like her. I was convinced this had to be Yoshie, the teacher from the urban legend. I had the sudden sensation of someone seizing me by the throat, accompanied by an unpleasant crunching sound. God, she really did have me by the throat. I couldn't breathe, for as old and frail as she looked, she was uncommonly strong.
捕まえた。
Thanks. She was actually gripping me so tightly that she'd managed to raise me off the ground by my neck. I could see her slender, bony hand in the periphery of my vision, and it felt like cutting into my trachea. I feel it cutting into my trachea. Was that hand really holding me in the air against my will, kicking and flailing by just the tissue and bones of my neck? I couldn't struggle anymore. I was like a puppet on a
今
string.
度はあなたが鬼よ。
I don't want to play tag. I want to go home. I don't think I'm going home. With a sudden crack, my field of vision shifted 90 degrees and everything turned blood red.
あらあら、私と同じね。
Lovely. Hey, another wrong end! We are doing great with wrong ends today. Oh boy, so... yeah. We're just getting more and more wrong ends as time goes on, it seems. Damn. Well, I guess that's a good place to leave it off, I guess, because we got a lot of stuff to deal with this. Although I'm very confused because Yoshi, I don't think it was the old woman unless she was pretending to be Yoshi. I don't know. Very confused with that one, considering Yoshi is Sachiko's mother, who fell down the stairs and her head went boom, and now she walks around with her head like this, and it's kind of creepy, and she's very angry, and I don't know what's going on. I'm still confused how she keeps dying in her flashbacks and is somehow alive. I don't know. It's very weird. But either way, I guess we'll just have to see what happens to Miss Yui later. But for now, this is StarPrincessHLC saying thank you very much for watching, and have a fond farewell.